confirmed number of coronavirus cases in Los Angeles County comes to 449,851. The confirmed number of deaths reaches 7,909. Here in Torrance, the total number of confirmed cases is 2,292, with total confirmed deaths at 77. We anticipate those numbers to change as the county updates its last 24-hour operating period. Welcome to COVID-19 Today. I'm Leslie Robbins. It's 4 p.m. on Monday, December 7th. Los Angeles County broke records again yesterday as the highest single-day case count with 10,528 new positive infections. Now, this comes after consecutive days of record-breaking COVID numbers this past week, with the highest count reaching 8,948 new cases on Saturday. In Southern California, all 11 counties have begun the new temporary stay-at-home order as hospitals drop down to 10.3% intensive care unit capacity, down from 12.5% the day before. Health officials say while increased demand for coronavirus testing across the county has been on the rise, it's human behavior that is mainly fueling the county's troubling new coronavirus surge. Officials say the faster we reduce the transmission rate, the faster we can recover from this third wave of COVID-19 cases. California Governor Gavin Newsom held a press conference this morning to give an update on the state's response to the pandemic. Newsom shared updates on the temporary stay-at-home order that applies to regions that have dropped below 15% hospital ICU capacity. Also discussed was an update on the vaccine that will soon be available for Californians. Newsom anticipates delivery of the vaccine in the next week, the first dose going to facilities that will vaccinate their high-risk healthcare workers first. Newsom says they're planning for 2.16 million first doses. The Community Vaccine Advisory Committee meets on Wednesday to discuss Phase 1B of vaccine allocation. More than 33 million people in California are faced with the new temporary stay-at-home order, which became official shortly before midnight last night. Now, this applies to more than 80% of the state's population and took effect one day after California announced more than 30,000 new coronavirus cases, the most in a single day, with more than 10,000 just in Los Angeles County alone. Governor Gavin Newsom announced a week ago that when the ICU hospital capacity falls below 15%, the new stay-at-home order would be triggered for a period of 3 weeks. This takes the county to December 27th before the order could be lifted. Now, what does this mean for businesses? Well, bars, wineries, personal care services, hair salons, and barbershops are required to close once again. Restaurants would only be able to offer takeout and delivery, which doesn't change too much for Southern California, but all retail stores like markets and shopping centers would also need to limit capacity to only 20%. Schools that are currently open can continue to provide in-person instruction, although LAUSD announced today they would shut down completely beginning Wednesday for all in-person tutoring and special services and hope to reopen in 2021. There is no gathering allowed with anyone outside of your household. And lastly, all non-essential travel is temporarily restricted to statewide only, regardless of what zone you live in, and hotel and lodging is limited to critical infrastructure support. Los Angeles County is making COVID testing one step easier now, thanks to a partnership with Fulgent Genetics. A new campaign called Holiday Home Test Collection will allow people at home the chance to take a COVID-19 test if they may have been exposed or are experiencing symptoms. This is the same test offered at the county's Drive Up or walk-up community testing sites. The sample is collected using a nasal swab and then mailed back that same day at no cost to the user. It will be available for free between the months of December and mid-January and delivered by FedEx to your home address within 2 days. Now, to participate, you must have COVID-19 symptoms, were in close contact with someone who has it, or think you may have contracted COVID in the past 2 weeks. To learn how the test works, go to the county's COVID-19 resource page at covid19.lacounty.gov to get the link to sign up. Los Angeles County restaurant owners affected by COVID-19 restrictions can now apply for some financial relief. The Keep Los Angeles County Dining Grant Program, which originally kicked off Thursday, suffered technical glitches over the weekend. So now applicants have until tomorrow, 5 p.m., or until 2,500 applications have been received. Now, only small businesses that did not get help from any other CARES Act funded programs are eligible and could receive up to $30,000 in assistance to be used toward employee payroll, operations, and expenses. Applicants can click on the map that checks the address of your business to see if it is eligible. Candidates include those who have a fixed brick-and-mortar location with a full-service kitchen, restaurants with less than a total of 25 employees at the time of the application. You're located in LA County, but not the city of Los Angeles or Pasadena, and it cannot be a corporate-owned franchise. The LA County Board of Supervisors approved $10 million in CARES Act funding for the restaurant grants in late November and will be split among the county's 5 districts. The program is operated by the LA County Development Authority. The application can be found at keeplacountydining.lacda.org. Preference is said to be given to restaurants that provided outdoor dining as of November 24th. Well, one of the nation's top health officials is warning Americans not to let their guard down, especially as many are experiencing COVID fatigue. Dr. Deborah Birx, the White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator, shared with the press this weekend that while the vaccine is critical, it's not going to save us from the current surge. Only we can do that by not letting our guard down, staying home, wearing masks, avoiding gatherings with those outside of your household, and social distancing. The Food and Drug Administration Advisory Panel is scheduled to take requests this Thursday to authorize emergency use of Pfizer's vaccine. Vaccinations could begin just days later, though initial supplies will be rationed and shots not expected to become widely available until the spring. Delta Airlines is letting passengers know they mean business when it comes to the safety of their travelers and flight crew. So far, more than 550 people have been banned from taking future Delta flights after they refused to wear face coverings on board. Delta CEO Ed Bastian says, fortunately, that number represents a tiny fraction of our overall customers, the majority of whom follow the guidelines and appreciate the steps we are taking to help them keep safe and healthy. They've also extended their middle seat block until March 20th, 2021 to ensure passengers feel safe when boarding their plane. The men of Troy remain undefeated as the University of Southern California take Washington State 33-13. In a rare Sunday night football game at the Coliseum in Los Angeles, the Trojans scored 28 points just in the first quarter, with sophomore quarterback Kedon Slovis throwing 5 touchdown passes. Now, this comes after taking a pause for 2 weeks due to 3 confirmed COVID-19 cases and more than 10 players forced to quarantine. The postponed game was just the 4th time in Trojan history the team has played on a Sunday. President-elect Joe Biden selected a California top official to return to the nation's capital to lead the federal government's healthcare efforts. After leaving Washington 4 years ago to return to his hometown of Sacramento, California Attorney General Xavier Becerra was chosen by President-elect Biden to serve as Secretary of Health and Human Services. Now for California Governor Gavin Newsom, along with having to fill Vice President-elect Kamala Harris's Senate seat, Newsom will also be tasked to make another difficult decision. Newsom said in a tweet, quote, "You've spent the last 4 defending the #ACA. Now you'll help lead our nation toward quality, affordable health care for all, and continue to make California proud." Well, speaking of change, incoming Los Angeles County District Attorney George Gascon was sworn in today. Gascon, who is now the 43rd DA to serve the county, says he plans to immediately introduce progressive policies that would revamp the nation's largest prosecutor's office. A former San Francisco district attorney and LA police assistant chief, Gascon promises more reform to keep low-level offenders, drug users, and those who are mentally ill out of jail. He says he plans to end use of so-called sentencing enhancements, which saddle gang members and other criminals with extra prison time. He says he won't seek the death penalty and demand bail from people accused of misdemeanors and some felonies before their release, and begin holding police officers more accountable when there is an officer-involved shooting. He defeated incumbent District Attorney Jackie Lacey in the November 3rd election by 54% of the votes. December 7th marks the 79th anniversary of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in Hawaii that sparked the U.S. into World War II. President Franklin D. Roosevelt referred to today as, quote, "the day which will live in infamy," as Japanese planes launched from aircraft carriers and executed a surprise attack, destroying planes and ships and killing nearly 2,400 service members and civilians, along with an additional 1,178 people who were wounded by Japanese pilots who sank 2 U.S. Navy battleships, the USS Arizona and the USS Utah, and destroyed 188 aircraft. According to the National Park Service, Congress designated December 7th as National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day in August 1994, and a remembrance event is held every year at the Pearl Harbor National Memorial. Well, this year, due to the pandemic, the annual ceremony in Hawaii is closed to the public, instead streaming the event online. Torrance Fire Department, along with several neighboring agencies, were deployed to Orange County's bonfire this weekend. As of this morning, the Orange County Fire Authority reported that more than 7,000 acres have burned and is now 60% contained. Over the weekend, there were more than 1,500 personnel working on the incident, representing more than 30 agencies from Torrance, Manhattan Beach, and Redondo Beach and El Segundo. Torrance fire personnel deployed over the weekend and have returned safely home. A popular women's boutique chain is the latest to seek bankruptcy protection during the pandemic. FRANCESCA'S voluntarily filed for Chapter 11, with plans to sell the business, including its brick and mortar stores. The Houston-based clothing store, which had nearly 700 locations nationwide, initially announced plans to close up to about 20% of their locations. Now, with 558 stores remaining, plans are in place to renegotiate a number of leases during this process, which could mean closure of additional boutiques. The popular clothing store caters to teens and young adults with its trendy fashions and affordable price points. There is a FRANCESCA'S located in the outdoor village at Del Amo Fashion Center. Well, before we go, at the end of each program, we like to share stories from our community. Feel-good pictures, images, and videos that remind us of how resilient our community is and how Torrance truly cares. Well, as we quickly approach Christmas, the city of Torrance, in partnership with the Salvation Army, has set up a donation can tree inside the Permit Center lobby located in the East Annex at City Hall. Now, each year, the city takes up a canned goods and perishable foods collection leading up to the two major holidays between November and December. Well, due to the pandemic, this past November, not enough items were collected to warrant a pickup for the Thanksgiving holiday. So the city is hoping to double up this Christmas holiday and help make a difference in the lives of those who need it the most. Now, we have 1 week until the December 14th pickup takes place. You can email us if you have any questions about how you can bring by your non-perishable as well as fresh foods while maintaining safety protocols. Email us at covid19today@torranceca.gov. We'd love to hear from you. Well, that is our update for COVID-19 today. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as Rhiannon Shutanich brings you the latest. Please be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.